replay of all this, as we always promise you guys. So if you have to hop off at any point, don't feel bad because you'll be getting an email later with a cleaned up version of this webinar
and all the links,
all the links, all the
we're gonna share with you.
resources, because the resources that we do have today are quite a bit, and they're quite different than what we're used to giving out too, which is great.
I have to send a request to Hannah to share my screen.
Yeah.
Hannah, please let us share our screen and we will get that done.
There we go. Thank you, Hannah.
All right. All right. And Michael, I don't know what I just.
Okay, I got the right one.
Cool. So
and then
there you go. I'm letting you take over the mouse from here. So while you're doing that, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming. Welcome to the webinar. We're going to be talking about the front desk evolution. We want to help you turn your front desk into a profit center. One of the things that we found out at the last Urgent Care Association, the big conference that we were at in Texas, Michael had a chance to speak, and he had a packed out room of people wanting to fix this front desk issue.
Yes.
And it was so well received. This isn't a rehash, I'll say that, but it was so well received that we decided, hey, we need to do a full training on this to help our urgent cares turn their front desk from a order taker into a profit center. And so that was the catalyst for putting this. This didn't exist a month ago.
No.
We had a different plan for this webinar, but it was, again, so well received. So we want to start on time. We want to end on time. So let's go ahead and get rolling.
Yeah. So let's go and get going. And just as was mentioned, and we'll talk about this in just a second, this is not a repeat from that talk in Dallas. This is just the expanded things I wanted to talk about, but I had 45 minutes. And so I had to squeeze stuff in. But yeah, let's get going.
All right. So real quick, my name is Nick Horde. I've been in the game in marketing for about 15 years now, a little over. I've been in digital marketing for 7 years, and I've been niched into the urgent care space for 5. So completely focused on urgent care marketing and helping you all grow your clinic. If you can see behind me, which you may not be now, well, actually, I'll go through that in just a second. But anyway, Nick here from Birmingham, Alabama. Michael here with me.
Yeah. And so I've been in this space now since 2011, so 14 years of this. I spent a lot of my time originally in the sales side of things, so B2B sales. And so where a lot of this information we'll be giving you today, these are also just common sales practices, and you'll see in a little bit what that all looks like. But you know, we have a passion of growing you guys, and sometimes growth is not just from the marketing side; it's from inside your clinic, and that's the goal of today, to help identify that.
Awesome. Let's keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I want to do a few housekeeping items. We have a chat available, so use the chat for questions, and we'll have a dedicated Q&A here at the end of the session. I want to encourage you, get out a notepad. At the very least, we're gonna send you a recording of this, so you'll have all the notes. We have a lot of data that we're going to be sharing today, and I don't want you to focus so much on the details of the data, just the concepts behind them. We'll share the data, but stay on the concepts, because you can get all of the data on the replay. If you could minimize your distractions, we want to make sure that your notifications are off, your Outlook's off, your Apple, put it in focus mode if you have
especially Outlook.
Yeah, Outlook only shows up whenever you're in a meeting, and
or you're in a podcast interview.
That's it. That's it. I want to encourage you to stay the full 60 minutes. We've put a lot of effort into this for you. Our intention is to provide you incredible value for your time. So yeah, if you can stick with us for 60 minutes, I think you're going to enjoy what you see here. As we continue, our goal for our urgent care clinics should be your goal too, in my opinion, is we want to, well, that's the next slide. I got my slides out of order. I always get these things mixed up. So some things that we're going to be covering today, we're going to have links provided to you at the end. We're going to be talking scripts for your front desk. We're going to have role play scenarios for your front desk, job descriptions for you to be able to attract the right people for your front desk, and interview questions that we think you should absolutely ask every single interviewee when you're going through the process of hiring.
Yeah, and those are turnkey items as well. And we even have a special thing that Nick's going to show you guys toward the end as well that will be completely available to you.
For free.
Yeah, for free, which is awesome.
Yep. All right. So we want to help you get more patients, deliver better care, get repeat visits, and scale your clinic. The whole webinar around today, obviously being the front desk, is you can't get more patients or deliver better care or get repeat visits if you're not taking care of them right out of the gate. So that's what we do to help you scale today.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
All right. So
Yeah.
looking at this right here, so we're talking about your front desk. So here's the reality of it. We're in marketing, and so our goal is to get people to your door, which is via an online schedule or a phone call. Phone calls are a big deal in the urgent care space. We can all agree to that. Well, the reality of it is your front desk is that key person that can make or break it to the point, like, because we got feedback live when I was doing the talk, you guys are dealing with like 30-40% missed call rates. You're dealing with,
Say that again.
yeah, 30 to 40% missed call
It's a lot
rates.
of calls.
It's a lot of missed
Missed.
calls because you guys get a lot of calls in general. And the challenge is that the person that you put in place that's doing your front end is taking those phone calls, all those different things. They were never set up for success. They were set up to receive and do things, but they were never set up to success to help grow your clinic. And it's nothing against them or yourself. You just, that position has never been viewed in that capacity before. And so what we've seen over now a couple of years working with you guys is that the ones that do say, okay, this is beyond the receptionist, this can make a big difference. So that's what we're going in today. That's just the reality of the thing is that, when you're competing, like the MAP 3-pack that we've talked about, constantly in our webinars and podcasts, you're one of 3 or 4 urgent care showing up in a search. There's no brand loyalty. So people are going to go from one to the next to the next. And so that 30-second, 60-second phone call can completely change the attitude of how that goes. So, all right, just want to kind of set that table, but let's just go ahead and throw into a survey right here, talking about competitors. Thank you, Hannah, for throwing that up there. So you should have a survey in front of you right now, but how many clinics are within 5 miles of your location? Most.
Think Jeopardy clock.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Take about 5 seconds and answer that real quick. We want to know.
Yeah, so like how many do you think there are? And I bet there's more than you believe. And then the reality of it is if it's more than 2, you're competing. Like ultimately you have competitors that could be going above you and your front desk could be losing some opportunities. So thank you, Hannah, for putting that up there. We appreciate that.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So let's take a look at this real quick.
Yeah, so 60% 1 to 2, and then we have another 20% of 10 plus. And so
man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the one that's a 10
That's
plus.
brutal.
That's not fun. It's only 5 miles.
That's right.
That's a real problem. Well, thank you guys for being out there. But that's a reality, right? Competitors are real. People like choices, and your front desk can be that great choice, or they can actually be the reason not to go to you. And so we have to go through all that and why that's so important. All right. So a couple of things again today. So just that reminder, this is not a rehash from the UCA Dallas talk. So if you did go attend that, thank you so much for attending, but this is an expansion of it. We're diving deep into the hiring process of who you're supposed to be hiring, what kind of scripts and so forth, like how you're going to dialogue that, how you're going to train them, what kind of compensation is there. Basically, we're going to give you a blueprint. You can take all of our resources today, and then you can literally go start the hiring process immediately, and it'll make an impact for you. And that's our goal. So
absolutely.
All right. So let's just get in right into here is the challenge. Here's the multi-million-dollar problem. I know that sounds kind of crazy to think about it this way, but at the end of the day, I realize that urgent cares, you have urgent cares that are doing 5 patients a day. You have urgent cares doing 80 to 100 patients per day per location. So I understand there's a stretch here on the numbers, but the reality of it is your front desk right now is most likely an order taker. They are just simply taking the phone call, answering the basic questions, and not pursuing anything beyond that. Now, traditionally, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing you can ding on a front desk for doing that part of their job because that's probably what they were told to do. What we're saying is that we're trying to shift the mindset to patient advocacy where we're pushing toward they are more than just an order taker. They're trying to take care of the patient before the doctor ever sees them because that interaction starts with that phone call or starts with that interaction on the site. And so this is that chance where you have 30 seconds, 60 seconds to take somebody that's on the fence and push them right over and say, come on down, let's go ahead and take care of you and show that empathy and all those different things. But here's some basic math numbers at the end of the day. Obviously, plug in based on your numbers here, but let's say you get 200 calls a day and you have a 20% improvement. That could be an extra 40 patients per day, which sounds like a high number, but the reality of it is it works out that way. We already told you you're missing 40% of your phone calls already. So, and multiple urgent cares have confirmed that with us. So if you got that extra 40 patients and then you have $200, and we know $200 is the average revenue for a patient, so it's $8,000 a day. And if you're open 250 days a year, so just 5 days a week, could be $2 million worth of extra money sitting out there. I know this sounds pie in the sky. So even if you chop that into a tenth of it, two or $300,000 worth of missing revenue based on how that front desk person is interacting and taking those calls and those walk-ins. Like it's just the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to paint the picture for you. Like it's a real thing. It's not made up. We've seen the numbers before.
This is also based on feedback from clients.
Yep.
And what we've seen in our data tracking, because we run a lot of ads and we do a lot of SEO for a lot of clinics, and we can see the numbers bear out. 20 to 30% of the phone calls are going unanswered.
Unanswered, or the answer is just please hold, and then
they bounce.
And then they bounce, and it's just that's what you guys deal with. I know it sounds, and I'll be honest. When I was having that original talk in Dallas, there was like, well, is this extra work for our people? No, it's actually
a shift in mindset.
It's just a shift in a little bit of process. Extra work's really not there. So anyway, so let's just hop on over. I got your next survey up. Thank you guys for first one. Here comes the next one. So what's your current phone appointment conversion rate? And what do we say by that? So if I had 10 calls come in and 5 of them became appointments, that means 50% type of thing. So tell me what you guys think. And there's a good chance you probably don't track this. Like most of the educators we talk to, they just know how many phone calls they get. They never kind of ran the numbers and say, well, how many phone calls versus how many appointments am I actually getting versus walk-ins and all the different things. So I'm curious what kind of numbers. We'll give it just a couple of seconds for you guys to plug that in, and we'll take a quick look at the result.
Yeah, the easiest way to do that is if you got 1,000 phone calls in a month.
Yeah.
You'll have more than that. But if you got 1,000 phone calls and you saw 300 patients, then you had a 30% conversion.
Exactly. So don't track it. That's kind of what we thought.
Yeah, it's a thing.
And then we got the powerhouse person that's 75% plus.
Let's go
on that. So, all right. So, I mean, that's awesome to see there. But the don't track it. It's real. Don't feel too bad. Like it's just a real thing because you guys are focused on all sorts of your business, and then it. I almost look at the number of phone calls like revenue, where it's a cool number, it's a big number. We get 3,000 calls a month, but the profit matters more, and so that conversion, well, how many of those became dollars? So like that's the same thing because you could have a $10 million a year clinic, but only show no profit. So you really didn't do anything but just cycle money. So,
well, let me take 2 seconds here and just say, if you don't track it, the first thing you can do is just start tracking it. Pull your phone history.
Yeah.
If you're using Ring Central or whatever it is that you're using, and just say how many phone calls came in this month, and then go look at your volume. The other one, I think, was at 60%.
Yeah.
If you're at 60%, you have good amount of room for improvement. You're going to see a significant bump in your income if you apply this strategy. And then if you're at 75% or above, I think one person had put that, you can make incremental improvements. So it's not as much of a move for you. You can just make some of the incrementals. So,
and the incrementals matter. Going. They really do. So here we go. So here's the shifting. So currently, because we have numbers and we have feedback on this, your typical front desk person is probably somewhere between $15 to $20 an hour. I put 16 because I heard that a couple of times, heard 18 a couple of times. And then you can do quick math. That means you're paying your front desk person $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And when you consider how many phone calls you get, how many missed calls, how many patients are coming through because that person should be converting them into patients from the phone call itself, they are in control of a lot of revenue at the end of the day. And you may think to yourself, well, 400,000 sounds like a lot. Well, the 400,000 at the volumes that you guys deal with isn't a huge, like, it's a very achievable number. So one person, think about this, one person could have that much influence. Because that 400,000 could be an additional 400,000, or it could be all lost. You just don't fully know if you're not tracking things. So it's that mindset, like, you're paying someone very low wages. Like you're paying the payment that what you're paying now is equivalent to somebody going to Starbucks or somebody being like a manager at a McDonald's. Like these are the type of people that you're dealing with from the standpoint of what kind of category they fall into.
Right.
Also, these people probably have never had sales training, like legitimate, like high-end sales training, where they're there to not only get them to become a patient, but actually kind of build in the empathy side of things, and then actually can move the process with them and make it very smooth. Because I can go and tell you right now, some of the best salespeople you ever dealt with were the ones that made the process so smooth, removed all the restrictions, and just made it happen. that's the type of person that should be running in that front desk where they're not trying to make it hard. I was telling a story once where I was cold calling actually some of your urgent cares. And so obviously the front desk doesn't know my number because they wouldn't know any patient's number, honestly. And they would just hang up on me. I would call, click, and then I call right back, click again. It was somewhere in Texas, by the way. So who knows which Texas urgent care that was. But and I could hear on the second and third one, I could hear people in the background, lots of noise. So the person was busy. And so they just lost, like, this is not important to me, click.
Right.
And that's the mindset, right? Because if you're hiring somebody that's just 15 to 20 bucks an hour, they're clocking in, clocking out, they're focused on the task in front of them. They're not focused on like, hey, could I do something to help increase the revenue into this business? Can I, that mindset's quite a bit different. And that's just the reality of it is. And you guys have been in that process of hiring this front desk and that mindset for probably since the beginning, honestly. And so this is that shift that we want to start making with you guys. Does that make sense? Good.
Awesome.
All right. So here's the next one. What are you actually paying your front desk right now on an hourly rate? So as like I said, 15 to 20 seems to be the number we've received multiple times. So I gave you an out on D, $22 plus. Let's see who pushes beyond the $20 mark. So we'll give it just a second on that.
I can bet if they do at $22 plus, they've been there for a long time, they're seasoned and they're experienced.
And they probably have good phone call conversions, honestly.
For sure. All right. While they're answering that, let's keep going.
Yeah. So let's see if we got any results off of that. All right. So that was right in the goal of 15 to 18 and 18 to 22. So those were 15 to 18 was the number one answer. So you guys are lining up completely. Thank you for not paying under $15 an hour. Right. Thank you guys for not doing that to your people.
That's right.
But no one on there had $22 plus. So I know I'm talking to the right crowd right now. So,
awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about hiring and how much you're paying, what kind of quality you're bringing. So why urgent care is different in the first place. You have a higher sense of urgency, your higher conversion potential. If you handle it right, you have more competition, and you need better positioning. This is why you're setting yourself apart. And then you have higher stakes. You have to require better training. You have to have a better paid staff, because you are in retail healthcare. There is a different experience attached to an urgent care than there is to an emergency room or a hospital.
Well, and I even think, because when you're hiring somebody under 20 bucks an hour, their experiences, they may have worked at Target, they may have worked at just some lower pressure places.
Right.
And they may not have been dealing with sick people on a regular basis. Because you talk about the high pressure stuff. When somebody's sick, they're already like not in a good mood.
Right.
So you got to be that disarmer. You got to disarm those things. So right. Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. You guys have such a unique situation because you're high volume, but you have to be high touch as well. And it's such a challenge. All right. So talking about that front desk challenge. So are you high turnover, poor phone skills, low conversion rate, or you have all the above? What's your biggest challenge right now with your front desk? And maybe you don't have any challenges. But we'll give it just a second on that. We love these surveys because it helps us confirm if we're telling you good stuff or not.
Right. So, we don't want to get up here and lie to you.
Yeah, right.
Michael does, but
never.
I'm just kidding. All right. Well, while y'all are filling that out, let's hit the next slide.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right. So I think we're going to have that coming up. I love it.
All the above was number one answer. So
for sure.
So turnover wasn't a big deal. That's good. Poor phone skills, low conversion rates, but just all the above. Like these are problems. So we know we're in the right spot here. All right.
All right. So I want you to think a little different about this. All right. Your current thought process is that your front desk just is an order taker and they schedule appointments. We're going to shift that thought process to your front desk as your patient acquisition team, especially if you're running ads. All right. And when I say running ads or just doing digital marketing, you're trying to get traffic to your website with people who need your services to either schedule on your online scheduler or to pick up the phone and call you. And if all they're doing is taking and scheduling appointments, but they're not answering good questions to convert ones that are shopping into appointments, that's the difference in a acquisition team versus a scheduler. Let's go to the next slide.
Absolutely.
You have to pay them like they're a revenue generator.
Now this might hurt a little bit. We're going to give you some real numbers here.
Yeah, let's do the real numbers for sure. So before I get into this, let me give you a thought process. I worked at Costco for about 5 years. And I went out, and this is early in my career, right? But even early in my career, I was making $18 to $25 an hour, somewhere in that range, at Costco to go get baskets, to pull a TV off of a shelf, to get a hot dog for somebody, right? You're asking people to deal with people's personal health information, your EMRs, to schedule. You
Multitask.
can't treat. I'm not down on Costco workers. I'm not down on on Burger King. I'm not doing any of that comparison from that standpoint. But I will also say you have to recognize that there's a difference in a skill set between
Mhm.
somebody who's going and getting baskets out of Costco versus somebody who is handling all this personal information, giving front desk care and converting them into a patient at your clinic, which is driving revenue for your clinic. Those are two completely different skill sets, and yet you're paying them at the same or worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's important to acknowledge that if you want to bring on the best that you can at that skill level.
Mhm.
So the recommended structure is, at the very minimum, your base is at 22 up to 30. And that's for the top 25% of the market. We think you should pay for performance, $5 per patient above 80%. So if you're currently converting at 75%, I think somebody had put that
Yeah.
in
Somebody
there.
had put that in there.
This is that incremental improvement. Hey, get me to 80%, and anything over that, I'm gonna pay you $5 per patient. Here's what I know for sure. Whatever your break even point is on your clinic, it's going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 patients per day. Anything over that is nearly pure profit for your clinic. It's nearly pure profit.
Assuming that you have the same
Yeah.
people in the same clinic and all this stuff.
Yeah, you're a volume driven industry. Your clinic is volume driven. And so once you get past that 30 patients per day, it's pure profit. So if you can get from 75 to 80 and above, $5 is nothing, but it's everything to them.
Yeah.
Right.
It can make a huge impact for them financially. And then honestly, the type person that you're trying to attract there, they like the motivation behind it. They want to be pushed, like, oh, so you're telling me if I work a little harder or better, I get rewarded for it. They like reward systems.
And let me just tell you, putting this kind of reward system in place, or this bonus structure in place for your team, I understand the thought process of the folks that typically would take this job are completely driven, just by having a paycheck and not having to think about this.
Mhm.
So you don't call it a commission. All right. This is a bonus structure. They don't want to be in a commission based job, but boy, when they get a taste of that extra cash, they're going to convert those patients as often as they possibly can. Monthly bonuses, $500 for the team hitting a revenue target. Additional service bonuses. Let's see that they come in and they're able to rebook them for a repeat visit, or they're able to book them into a weight loss service, or they're able to book them into an IV therapy service down the road. It's really going to make you feel good.
Essentially it's upselling, right?
Right.
So like they came in for one thing, but a good salesperson, a good front desk will see, like, well, I saw you did that. I'd love to get you in for this too, because most people do this. And the simple ask is what makes all the difference, because you have it all the time when you go through maybe a checkout at a Target and they say you want to they're saying by default you want to open a credit card. You're going to say no, but you know how many say yes because they asked the question.
Yeah.
'Cause
100% of them would say no if you never asked.
yeah, exactly. And that's where we're coming from.
Yeah. Go ahead and do the ROI.
Yeah, it's ROI stuff. So like, here's the reality. So we're telling you right now, you're spending $15 to $20 an hour on this front desk person, which means you're spending $35,000 to $45,000 a year on this individual. What we're suggesting here is moving them closer to a $60,000 a year job.
It's going to be worth it.
Plus some bonuses in there.
Yeah.
So maybe up to 70, who knows? But the reality is I'm asking you to almost double, but not quite double your investment. But the catch of it all is if they're able to bring in 3 to 4 more patients a day, and then which is 20 to 25 plus patients a week, which is over 100 patients plus extra that you should have had in the first place, but you didn't have the right person doing it. Maybe 100 extra patients a month. So you're pushing like this idea of you're pushing $200,000 or $300,000 plus an additional revenue for spending $35,000, $40,000.
So I want to just throw this, probably about half the people when you said double their payroll, they're probably dropped off the call.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to reiterate something on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is a mixture of increasing slightly your base salary.
Yep.
Right. Or your hourly rate, and then adding in these ancillary $5 per patient over 80%, adding in a bonus. So it's the bonus and benefit on top of that slight increase.
Yep.
And so at least a fifth, a quarter, something of that is contingent on your growth, not just flat out giving people
Yeah,
money. So I
exactly.
wanted to acknowledge that
Yeah,
before
exactly.
you all hop off the call.
But when you're at the end of the day, when you're staring at your payroll expenses and you're looking at things like we did spend quite a bit more on this person,
Mhm.
but there's a really good chance that that revenue increases well. And the reality of it is because you have so much volume coming in, it doesn't take very long to start to see that change. Like a month or 2 months in, you're like, okay, I can actually see some change. What
For
did we
sure.
change? Oh, we have a better person that's in that position
That's
now.
right. For sure.
So,
Okay.
all right. So just a couple of things here worth noting that $30 an hour versus $18 an hour type person, you're entering a completely different pool of candidates
Yep.
because somebody that's looking at a $35,000 a year job is not the same person that's looking at a 50,000 plus or $60,000 plus job. Completely different animal. Their background is going to be quite a bit different, and their just mindset is different.
I, you're going to get a better candidate.
Yeah, just
There's
at
no
the end of
way,
the day.
and I know maybe we have some front desk people on the call today,
Yeah.
but I'm not trying to be crass. I'm not trying to be rude, but when you start increasing income levels, you start bringing in a different skill set, a different personality, a different type of person that's going to come in. Here's what else is that you're going to see. They're going to show up on time. Like
There's more of an
they're
ownership
gonna leave
mindset.
on time and not early. Like there's just a whole different animal here that you get. Animal's the wrong term. There's a whole different skill set that you're going to get
Yeah.
when you start bringing in a higher paid person. So I
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and like it says here, like they're more focused on the outcomes, not the task at hand. Like they want to get, they see the opportunity to take care of the patient up front, show the empathy, have the good conversations, and realize that there is like payout and some other things on the other end of that. They're not just taking care of the task that this is sitting in front of them.
That's right.
And they can look at performance and other things because you're also painting a picture. Because we know this, you know this as well. People like to see paths. Like, is there ways to increase my income or increase in the role of some capacity? And when you bring on those type of candidates, they're thinking in the future.
Right.
They're not just thinking like I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out, and I'll see you tomorrow. So it's just that is the different mindset of a candidate you'll have to. You'll actually be surprised when you start going through the interview process. You're like, these are not the same people that I'm used to interviewing because you're attracting a different style, completely different style, and it allows you to easier to say no to the ones like, no, you fit the old model. You were just, this doesn't make sense. So it's just because you have much better candidates to look at. So it really does make a big difference. All right. So currently, just out of curiosity, how do you guys currently find your front desk? Are you going to Indeed, job boards? We do Indeed, by the way. We've done that quite a bit. We have some staffing stuff as well. Word of mouth, or you don't have a system, you just gotta go find somebody because somebody just left.
So just quick, we use this thing called Video Ask, and I know we're
Yeah.
not getting into it. Just make it quick while you're voting. You want somebody who's going to have a good voice, right? Somebody who's
Mhm.
going to have it, like you're looking just as much for somebody's voice and demeanor on the phone as their ability to perform. So if you use a tool like Video Ask, where they answer questions on their phone to give you for an interview perspective, I may do a training on this one for that because
Yeah.
it's such a critical part of it. Okay, good. Indeed, Jaws Ward, that Video Ask is
Yeah, that's
it
what we
could be
do.
a good piece of that.
We go in Indeed, we have a video ask that filters things out.
Right.
If you guys have any questions about that, just hit us up later and we'll show you what we do.
Yeah.
No
I,
big
I
deal.
honestly, Indeed, Job Board, word of mouth, those two things are going to be pretty good for you. I don't know much about staffing agencies. We've used them. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
if
they're
you
real
don't have a
expensive.
system, let's get you started on one for sure.
Yeah.
Keep going.
All right. So now we're going to go into the job description change, right? This is actually a big deal here because, when you're putting out a job on Indeed, when you're putting out those job descriptions, you're probably putting out receptionist, front desk person, and you're listing off, takes phone calls, does intake of people walking in, may take billing or personal health information, like just that intake person, right? That's the task that you put out there, responsibilities. And then what we're saying is like you help people get the attention they need, medical attention they need, and you get them from almost a patient to becoming a patient. So it's a much different added mindset. And we will have job descriptions to give you guys so you can just plug in your personal information to actually get that put together and you can push it right out.
Those
So
will be in our resources.
yeah, those are our resources. Don't think you have to like come up with something brand new. We have it for you ready. So
yeah, a job description when you're putting this out onto Indeed or all of that, it's an ad. So you have to write it like an attractive ad. And if you do that, you're going to get better candidates.
Yep. And one of the things that we like to focus
or
on, because
more.
we do this in our own job descriptions, especially on the sales side, like key responsibilities. Like these are things that these are our metrics that we're going to be looking at. Are you converting 80%, 85% of the calls or more? We talk about this one ring answer. Like the goal is that when the phone rings, it's immediately answered. You're not letting going 3 or 4 rings and then it falls over to somebody else,
Mhm.
because we see it all the time when people let it go 3 or 4 rings, they just hang up or they get frustrated. And so it's just an uphill battle. So that one ring mentality, they're able to take on the patient's concerns and kind of make sure they're in the right spot. Like, yeah, urgent care makes total sense for you guys, not an ER. Like that type of mindset where they're having to problem solve on the fly with people. And then like, is there opportunities for additional services? And, we have a very special service that makes total sense for you, patient, and just connecting all those dots. So it's a very proactive mindset, not a reactive mindset. And the biggest thing is too, so maintaining a calm, professional uh, manner while you're in a very high pressure situation. Because urgent cares are high pressure. Like when you have 30, 40 patients a day and you have people walking in and you're on the phone and somebody had got put on hold because they had a billing question, it's a lot of pressure. So you want to make sure like you're staying calm, because if your front desk has an upset day, so does your patients,
Mhm.
and then you will feel it in your reviews later, or you'll feel it in your drop off in patient volume that particular day, because it's real. So like maintain that calm demeanor is just a super important piece of the puzzle. But these are some of the things that you should be putting out there when you are looking. Like this is the mindset you should be aiming for, because when people see it, like, yeah, yeah, this is a performance mindset, right? So this is where we're pushing all that. All right, so here's some questions that Nick and I will go back and forth on. But when you're going into the first interview with this person, these are some of the questions we like to see. Number one, pressure handling. How would you help a panicked parent whose child has a fever? So like this is something very specific.
Yeah.
Like it's not very black and white sometimes, because you have to like understand like, okay, the parents panic, so I need to calm them down a little bit
Right.
and then reassure them that we can actually take care of them. Not, it sounds like, how far are you out? You're 10 minutes out. I can get you a spot right now, in 15 minutes. So come on down now. We'll take care of that fever. So it's confidence, right? Because if you come to me and I'm not confident, I got a shaky voice, or I have a I don't know mentality, or I don't want to talk to you mentality, well, that person's going to just hang up and try the next
Right.
urgent care. And that's just the way it is. So that's the pressure handle. So you're asking that question to them, how would you handle this situation?
Yep.
And if they're sitting there fumbling when you're asking this question, and they don't have and their answer is, come on, like they're short responses, and like, okay, they're not thinking in the right mindset. This may or may not be the best fit, but this is an example question for that. So what's the next one?
Sales aptitude is huge here. You want to make sure that you can ask questions about getting someone toward a decision that's in their best interest. I think this is a good part of your interview where you're going to role play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call. I'm a patient. You're the front desk. I'm going to come with a problem, and I want you to turn this into an appointment. Right. This front desk person needs to show the ability to convert a questionable call into, hey, you need to come in and see us. And it needs to obviously be in the patient's best interest to come see you. What you're really looking for is, hey, price shoppers, hey, I don't know if I should come in. Hey, what should I do here? When you start seeing those kinds of lines of questioning, that front desk person should have the sales acumen to be able to bring them into an appointment.
Yeah.
So medical comfort.
Yeah, medical comfort is, are they actually comfortable talking with a patient about some basic symptoms? Like, we don't want the front desk to diagnose no, we don't want that. But what we do want is that most of the time when a front desk, when a potential patient calls, they're describing some problems, and they're trying to make sure, like, one, can you guys handle this? Two, do you take my insurance? All these different things. But you want to make sure on the medical side, like, there's the empathy part of it. There's the, I know if your stomach's hurting, I know you don't feel well. You say you've been hurting since last night. Yeah, it sounds like you should come in. We can take care of you. Just that might, because some people are afraid to talk about that stuff. Like, they're just like, well, I don't want to hear about that. Do you want to come in or not?
Right.
That's a real, and then we've had the polar opposite, where we had to tell one of our urgent care owners, hey, you got to cut off this front desk person. They are completely diagnosing them on the phone, and this is going to get you some hot water. So
right.
like, those are the things you got to deal with. But making sure, like, is the person even comfortable talking to people in that capacity? Because some just aren't.
Well, when we get to the multitasking line of questioning, really what you're looking for is them to be able to manage their time well. because there's going to be times where they're going to be on the phone, somebody walks in, doctor's handing them a chart or requesting something on a patient. Um, what you're looking for is, can they handle three, four things at once? And when I say handle it, I mean, can they prioritize? Because nobody can handle four things at once. But what they
No.
can do is prioritize it. I'm on the phone with a patient, or I'm on the phone with a potential patient,
Yeah,
right?
potential
If
patient.
they're already on the phone, they're on the phone. Like, let them finish what they're doing. But if they're dealing with a patient, you in the middle of that call, can they confidently look at that patient and say, "Hey, listen, the phone's ringing. Let me catch this real quick. Give me just a second. I'll be right back with you." Or if it's inappropriate, to be able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm so glad you called. If you'll give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back on to help you." Right? To be able to flow properly in a situation without losing their cool, without getting in the weeds.
Yeah, I get in the
Yeah.
weeds, or you've probably been to a store or somewhere where they're on the phone and you're standing there looking at them and they're looking at you and they look away.
Yeah.
You don't want that, right?
That's right.
Because what they would say is like, I'll be with you in just a second. That communication is important because at the end of the day, it's okay to communicate. I can't talk to you right this very second because I have someone else I'm actually talking to.
Yeah.
It's okay to communicate, but if they're not willing to do it, or if you ask them, what would you do in this scenario? And they just say, well, I would just put my hand up. Okay, cool. We're not going to work with you.
That's right.
There's a mindset problem there. And the last one, this problem solving. How would you handle a call about a patient, about a service the patient isn't sure you offer? So, hey, do you guys offer this? And the answer should most likely be yes, or it should be, well, can you give us a little bit more information on why you are looking at this service? Because we've seen it multiple times on not only in our urgent care space, but even like what we offer. When people say, "Can you do this?" Like, well, yes, but why do you want this? Like, typically, this is the reason why. And then, they're trying to dig a little bit to give them the best answer, not just to give them an answer, but the best answer, which then elevates the patient satisfaction overall. But we've seen some where people would call in and they'll say, well, do you guys do x-rays on site? And we've heard receptionists or front desk people say, I'm not sure, or I don't know. Do you have a doctor on site?
I've heard, I don't know.
I don't know. Let me go check.
That's wild to me.
And so, or do you offer STD testing? Yes, but I can't give you any details as to what they are. So those are the type of things where they're, because we recognize that most patients, they are asking very specific questions regarding what's going on with them. And so they need very clean, straight answers that aren't just questionable. Because if they start getting questionable, then the patient's like, well, do I want to go to these people? They seem like they don't know what they're doing. And then that call that may have cost you $10 to $20 to come in, the front desk just toss it away. So
That's right.
these are the questions that you're going into when you're going to the interview. It's like, these are things that are pretty key. Like, these are simple, like in your mind, oh, this is an easy answer. But when you're making this hire, it may throw them completely off, and they'll say, well, I didn't think this would be that type of job. So that's why we wanted to bring some of these questions to you guys. Now, I have a whole slew of other questions that will be in the resources, but these are some of the key ones. All right. So the red flags versus the green flags. So a couple of red flags. So when you're talking to the person on the interview side of things, like, and they say, "Oh, I don't like being pushy. I don't. I think sales is evil, or I think salespeople are terrible, and I don't like being pushed on myself." So that's a little bit of a red flag, right? Because they're automatically thinking this job is going to be a pushy sales job, and it's going to be not fun and just frustrating. If they show like they get aggravated very quickly, like that's an easy red flag. And then when you talk about commissions, they're like, oh, I don't really care about commissions. I like, what's my base? Cool. I don't really the
Yep.
commission stuff.
They're
I
not
don't.
hungry.
Yeah, you want somebody that's actually a little hungry, and it
Yep.
does make a difference. We see it ourselves when we do hires and so forth. You have people that just they want to do the work and know that their paycheck is going to be their paycheck, and you have some like, hey, I like my paycheck, but I like it a lot better if I did these few things, and they get motivated by if I push the envelope a little bit further, I can get some actual build my commissions up. So that's a big one too, because the commission structure can actually be a big turnoff to certain people because they're almost afraid of it.
Well, I'm gonna pick up our pace just a hair here to make sure that we're on time. Green flags: ask clarifying questions about scenarios, show natural curiosity
Yeah.
about helping people, like they genuinely want to help people, and they want to learn new information. And we're gonna go through some training here in just a second.
Yeah.
But they have to want to learn, like
Yeah.
they have an ability to learn. Let's keep going.
Exactly. All right. And then here's a cool bonus thing.
Yeah, this is cool.
So this is something that's very interesting, but it does work. And so the idea is that if you go through the interview process, I really like you, but I need to trial you.
Mhm.
So you offer a trial period with them, just 2 hours. You say, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you, $50, $100, whatever it is for 2 hours. And I want you to actually handle some calls. I'm going to be standing right by you, or whoever's going to be standing right by you. So if you get stuck on something, we're here to help. Well, I'm going to do it during a busy time because I want to see how you're handling this because you've told me you can handle pressure. You told me you can do really good on the phone. So I want to see what actually happens. Because in a 2 hour period, they may see 10 to 20 patients and may answer 30 or 40 calls. And so you'll find out real quick, okay, yeah, they're pretty good. Are they going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But did they show the ability to learn and they actually have a good base to them? Absolutely. So this is that foundational piece. Like, okay, you are pretty good. You're lining up pretty well. Just need some training and we'll be in the right spot. So this is a very easy $50 to $100 experiment that could save you thousands of dollars later.
Or identify the right person.
Yeah, or say this is the key person. I can't let this person go.
That's right.
I'm going to make the high, because I guarantee you at the end of this trial, you're either saying no or you're saying, let me give you an offer letter today. That's probably where your mind's going.
I would also say if somebody's wanting to get paid at the top of that hourly rate, require this. Pay them, but require it. Hey, you say you're good. Let's prove it.
Yeah,
Let's keep
exactly.
going.
All right. So on the high investment reality of things, so this is a real problem in not just the urgent care space, but in most businesses. If you hire cheap, but you're constantly having to go back and retrain, and they're just not getting it, or it's just not going to click. One, you probably give up and just let it go and just let them keep going, and then they'll eventually quit. The new approach is be more selective, train more thoroughly up front, and then you're gonna have a long-term person over time, which will just build your business better as
Pay
well.
accordingly.
Yeah, and pay is part of that as well. So
you didn't know this was going to cost you money today.
Yeah, or cost you tons of money today. Here's some basic math. When somebody turns over, it costs you, like, how much did it cost you Indeed to run those job ads? How much did it cost in downtime? How much did you actually have to go back and go to your staff and say, hey, you guys got to pick up the pace for the next 2 or 3 weeks while I find somebody again? And then your stress levels go up.
Or they're frustrated.
Everyone's a little frustrated. Like, why did that person leave? And all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you get an influx of flu, and then and now you're down people, and you're like, hey, you can't really take that vacation right now because we are covered up. And so like there's that piece, and then of course you got to retrain, and the training cost is beyond. We say 5,000. It sounds like a big number, but it's not when you start thinking about the hours spent training that person, the equipment you may have to issue them, and then the constant back and forth. Like, what did you lose by having that extra training happen on the opportunity cost? So it's a real thing. Like that's why if you want to try to get it right the first time, it saves you so much at the end of the day. Same thing with like a patient. A returning patient's a whole lot cheaper than a brand new patient every single time. All right. So let's go into the actual training process. So you found somebody, you like them, and you need to do some training with them. So if Nick wants to jump on some of that.
Yeah. So this is really, we want to give you a full month worth of training here. So week 1, they're in the office, they're learning scripts, and they're learning your practice, and they're learning your clinic, and they're learning medical basics. You've got to get them in your verbiage, how you talk about things. Week 2, after, they've done their HR paperwork, they've been learning how to talk on the phone, where the water cooler is, right? Week 2, we want to start spending some time role playing and putting some pressure on them in scenarios. And I've got a cool thing that may speed this up for you. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Yep.
And then week 3, put them on the phones. We want live calls with coaching. Record the calls in a HIPAA compliant way. Record the calls. You have to log in. Not everybody has access. We're not giving out medical information to anybody. You're not emailing this information. They have to log in somewhere to review these calls. And then on an ongoing basis, you're going to do monthly skill building and seasonal updates. This, in my opinion, this isn't this new hire. This is everybody on your staff.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, some of this is very specific to front desk, but this is how you become successful when you hire new people. Because the worst thing you can do is throw them to the wolves and just tell me when you got a problem. That's the worst thing you can do. Or just assume they know exactly how to do everything.
Right.
And that's just not. Or you put all the training on some other staff person that hasn't had a chance to train anybody before. So this is how to properly do this. All right. So quick question here. Does your front desk actually use scripts? And so yes, maybe they wing it every time. And then I put on D, do you mean prescriptions? No, we're talking about like actual call scripts and things that keep them lined up in the right way. So like run that poll real quick just to see. And they do matter too, and we're going to give you some. So don't worry if you are saying no, they wing it every time. We're going to give you some to start with. So we'll give it just a second to run before it gives us the answer. All right. So answer coming up here. So you do have some detailed scripts and some basic talking points. So cool. So you guys understand the importance of some of this. And I'm curious, how often do you update it, right? So a couple of script things here. So here's some basic, so symptom calls. What's bringing you in today? All right. And then the process, like, are you assessing them, positioning them, and getting them toward a scheduled appointment? Or if you don't do scheduled appointment, get them to come in. Wait time questions, like convert that time concerns into straight appointment. Yeah, if you're 40, I've read that it's 45-minute wait. It's like, no, so it's 45 minutes, but if you come at this time, I'll have you locked in. So you may only be waiting 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to go and come on now. Insurance costs and so forth, handle price shopping because like they're looking for cash pricing. Do you actually have my insurance? The worst feeling in the world when they say, do you have Blue Cross? And they're like, I have to go check. Well, you're losing at that point because some of these big carriers, like they should just know off the top of their head.
Have it listed somewhere.
Have it listed somewhere in that script or just in a nice laminated piece of paper.
Yes, that.
Yeah, makes a difference. Competitor shopping, why here, why now? Why should I be going to you guys? Because the next one in the line has just as many reviews, and they have to be able to convert them a little bit, right? Because
your answer can't be because.
Yeah, I was like, oh, because we're just better. Like, well, that doesn't tell us anything, or we're different. Like, okay, like some real concrete answers around it, and then talking about the additional services. Like, this is a script you should have. Like, okay, if they're in here for this, they should probably be looking at these services, not just to upsell them, but like they will actually benefit if they went this extra mile here. So these are the type of things that we care about that make the difference. All right, so here's an example. How long is your wait? So 45 minutes. Great. And this is what I was saying earlier. So yeah, seeing patients 30 to 45 minutes, but if I can get you come in today, I can get you in a certain spot here and we can just take care of you. So you assume the sell, right? You're just assuming that I can get you have to get them in. We're going to take care of you. Go and come in now. It's not going to be a big deal. So you're acknowledging and you kind of adjust the mindset a little bit and then you get them to close. And all of this can happen within like 20 seconds on the phone. So does not take long at all. It's a lot better saying, yeah, it's how long is your wait time? It's just 45 minutes. If you want to come now, it's going to be 45 minutes. You want to come later? I don't know, maybe longer. Like you don't want those type of answers because it's real. And then the practice scenario stuff. So we're actually going to step in just a second into the AI piece of this, which you guys are actually going to really like.
Yeah, a lot of this is already built into it. So you can go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, so we're going to hop over. So these are things to talk about. Once again, you'll get these slides, but we loaded a lot of this information into a chat GPT that we're going to give you guys that you can actually do some role playing. But just real curious, because we always want to get info. How long is your current front desk training? Do you do it in a couple of days, couple of weeks, or it's just ongoing? There's no set time limit. We'll give it just a second on that. All right. So yeah, so somewhere between a couple of days and a month. That's what we're getting out of that.
Like that. That's good.
All right. So a couple of things on the competitive. Oh, did I miss the? Oh. The triage stuff. So making sure that they understand the difference between ER and urgent care. Those type of scripts are super important because you don't want somebody coming in that really should have gone to the ER. That's be terrible. That's a real thing. And then some training on some staff. So quarterly training on here's some new things that we're seeing. Here's some new services that we're doing, and just some reminders of things that matter, especially from the staff side that has to receive the patient. Say, hey, by the way, if you can get this squared away or this information figured out before they come to us, make a huge impact. Those type of trainings really do make a difference. And then competitive, how do we know the differences? Why should I come to you versus not? We talked about that just briefly, but you guys, if you're the owners or the managers, you know what to say, but they may not. So just that reminder. They need to know, why does it matter to come to this urgent care versus the competitor without just saying that we're better. And then finally, can they interact with the software systems that you have? And then can they maintain an efficiency and get the calls done at an efficient rate, not just sit on the phone for 10 minutes, just chatting it up, those type of things. And then, of course, we see patient satisfactions. And the one ring answer is always a great goal. It's sometimes hard, but it's a great goal. But all that being led up to this guy.
Yeah, I wanted to take some time and let you know It was on the last webinar where we had a panel, and it was the AI powered clinic. And one of the things that I said I would build, and I'm doing what I said I would do, is I'll build a custom front desk trainer that we can just give away to our clinics so that they can send this and just do mock call after mock call after mock call and get a response. Now you're seeing on the screen the type in version, but what you don't see is, you probably still can't
see
is download it on your phone, and then you can have a conversation with it. And I want to demo that for you real quick. All right. So let me get us set up here. I'm in ChatGPT with our custom front desk bot that I created. All right, let's do some mock calls. And I want you to ask me 3 to 5 questions, one at a time. Let me answer. Do not give me any feedback until the end of the mock call. And then I want your feedback on how the call went. Let's get started.
Perfect. I'm ready when you are. Before we begin, what best describes your experience? A, brand new front desk. B, I've worked front desk at a clinic before, but I'd like to get better. I'm experienced, just looking to sharpen my skills.
Let's go with B, and let's get started.
Great. I'll keep things realistic and push you just enough to help you grow. Here's the first question. Imagine I'm calling into your urgent care clinic. Hi, I'm wondering, do you take Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Yes, we take Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, good to know. Do I need to make an appointment or can I just walk in?
We always have room for walk-ins. It's best if you make an appointment. Can I go ahead and get you set up?
That'd be helpful. Thanks. Also, do you guys see kids? My daughter's 5 and she's running.
Yeah, we can see kids from age 2 to 12. I'm sorry, 2 to 18 and older. I hate to hear that she has a fever. Yeah, let's go ahead and get her scheduled now.
Thanks. Last question. How much does it usually cost if I don't have insurance? Great question. Let me know your response. You're ready, and I'll give you the feedback on how the call went.
Yeah, so our visits for just seeing the doctor are $45 for cash base. And of course, we still take your Blue Cross.
Thanks. Here's how you did. You had a warm and reassuring tone throughout the call, which is huge. You sounded confident, especially when offering to schedule, which is great for building trust, encouraging the patient to come in. But you did well. You answered the insurance question clearly and quickly, confirmed that you take Blue Cross. You smoothly pivoted to scheduling right away. That's excellent front desk instinct. Also, your empathy really came through, responded to the sick child. That, I hate to hear that, was a nice touch of warmth. What could be improved? A couple small things. You said, we always have room for walk-ins. It's better to frame it as we do accept walk-ins, but scheduling ahead helps us see faster. I can get you set up now if you'd like. That keeps the door open, but gently nudges toward booking. Also, for the age range, there was a little stumble. That's totally fine in real life, but just try to simplify. Yes, we see children from age 2 and up.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop that
Yeah.
for the sake of time, but I want you to know that I've created this ChatGPT chatbot for you to train your front desk. We are giving it to you for free at the end of you'll be able to download that into your own ChatGPT. It is ChatGPT, and it does work with a free account. So technically speaking, you don't have to have the paid version to use that chatbot. I have tested it and tested it and tested it. And one of the cool things about it is at the end of, let's just say that you do 20 calls, at the end of that, you can say, all right, based on all of the calls that we just did, give me my strengths and my weaknesses and areas of improvement. And it'll go through, and then you can take that and you can print it off for your supervisor or for your doctor and just say, hey, help me work on these areas, right? And that way you can take AI, improve, and then get a perspective from the people who manage your front desk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, and I think it's funny because it was being real nice to you, but it had some problems with you.
I did one where I had it say, be a belligerent caller, and it roasted me. And it's like, you did good, but I could tell you were struggling.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I was
All
like,
right.
it's real.
So just so we're keeping pace on time, I know we're going a little long here at the, yeah, a little long here, but we're going to finish up for you guys quickly. So a couple of performance things, daily scoreboards. Are you actually tracking the calls received versus appointment scheduled? These are daily things. Are you tracking the revenue? These are things that matter to this person, right? Because if you're doing commission based, this is important. It's also important to you. Are they performing the way you hope they do? Patient satisfaction scores. We know the importance of all that. Then you want to celebrate the wins. This is beyond front desk, by the way, this weekly team meeting. You should be celebrating wins with your team. You should be looking at problem solving some challenges, looking at new scenarios that could come through, just opportunities to do some coaching, and look at next week's goals. And then if there's a call review, there's some calls, hey, that patient was really upset with us. Can we go pull that call and see what happened? Those type of things are important. Or you have the other side, hey, they loved us and they mentioned you directly in the review. I love to see what you did for them. So those things do matter and it makes people feel better. So let's go measure some goals and all this stuff. So the 90-day performance on this type of thing. So month one, they got this, they had the basic skills in place. That month of training has helped. Now you're trying to get some optimizations out of them. And then month three, you're doing long-term planning. So our mindset's always been, in 90 days, you should probably know if this is the right person or not, or they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
We call it a 90-day honeymoon.
Yeah, right.
Literally what we call it.
And you can be upfront with them. Say, hey, I'm bringing you on, and you're being evaluated for 90 days, essentially. And the reality of it is, by the second and third month, you already probably know, but by the end of month three, you're like, okay, yeah, this makes total sense. So the metrics we talked about previous, over that 85% conversion rate sounds like a high number, but it's real. Patient satisfaction 4.5 plus, and then of course, are you seeing actual revenue increases? And you really should be. Now, I will say this: be fair to them, because if you hire them and get them going in April, May, knowing you're going to have a slower summer, that's not a good way to measure against them. So just remind
They should have
yourself.
more time to answer phones though.
Yeah, they'll be really good at answering the phone because the volume is probably
Practice in the summer.
be a little down.
Yeah.
All right, so here's something that I know a few you've done, but not many have, is the quarterly secret shopping stuff. So secret shopping at the end of the day is where you have somebody call your clinic, pretend to be a patient, or interact with your clinic and pretend, and they've never done it before. They don't know anything about your clinic at all. Like, do not use a coworker or a spouse that knows all the things. Use somebody who's like, yeah, I know you work there or own that, but I don't know anything. I've never been there. Like, that's what you want to go for, right? Because they're going to sit there and test how good your team is. And they're going to give you some well, why did they do this? Well, that's the way we do things. Well, maybe you shouldn't do it that way. That's how it comes out. And you can score it. We put out here assessments on medical, did they assess you on a medical? Was the position of yeah, let's get you in now, and then were they very adamant about getting the appointment actually secured in? Were they just kind of loose about that? And then were they professional through the whole process? These are things you can score it on. This is how we weight it. You can weight it how you believe, but you can see it's kind of even, but the securing the appointment is going to have a little bit more weight because they can't secure it. They may not come in the first place. And of course, like anything else, you want to score 90 or above if you can, but that is secret shopping at its core. So I am curious real quick, do any of y'all actually secret shop? Have you ever done it before? Maybe one time, didn't know what it was.
There's actually, I don't know if you knew this, Michael, but there's actually companies that you can hire to secret shop you.
Yeah. And
they typically stand in the mall with a clipboard.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Will you secret shop?
We'll go just a second longer and we'll move on. All right. So here's some other things.
Let's skip past this.
So no one secret shops. Yeah. Okay. So we have one time. So no one secret shops. Man, you guys are missing out. A couple other things right here. Leading versus lagging. The conversion rates, these are leading indicators. It's stuff you can look at. Lagging is where did we increase or not? So the leading stuff can help solve a problem faster. The lagging is like the problem's already happened and we're now just getting to it. So that daily check on some things, these are the things that you should care about. And it's a lot quicker to solve a problem that's only happened for a week than it's been happening for months. It's just a whole lot easier. And then how do you track your front desk performance currently? Volume, conversion rate, NPS score. I don't track metrics at all. Give it just a second.
And while y'all, I just want to thank you for the participation on filling these out. We want to make sure that we're always giving you the very best information that we can. So,
absolutely.
We actually cater a lot of our webinars based on this feedback so that we can best serve you.
Yeah, and you help confirm some things too, which is always nice.
For sure.
All right, so coming up toward the end right now. So just a couple of things to go through here. So There you go.
Okay,
Don't
good.
patient satisfaction. We totally
I knew that
expected
NPS
that.
was a thing.
Yeah,
for
NPS
sure.
is a real thing. And then don't track metrics. That's the other thing too. So you either love your metrics on the patient satisfaction or just don't look at it. So that's a real thing. So we talked about, warning signs. That's going down. Your negative Google reviews are starting to increase, especially if they're talking about more than just the doctor or the provider, right? It could be more to that. And then we also see this inside of clinics. If there's just a negative mindset, it spreads. And that negative mindset will be picked up by the patient pretty quickly or potential patient.
They know.
They could feel it. Like, cut through a knife, right? What they always say, like, I can cut through the tense, how stressful
You
this.
can cut through it with a butter knife.
Yeah, cut through a butter knife.
Yeah.
I can't talk on that. So anyway, and then quick fixes. So just, are you doing some additional role playing? We talked about the training side. Is your script still good? And so just those type of things there. And then
If your script still includes COVID-19, your script
yeah.
could be updated. That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, like are they still good? Like, do they make sense? Do
Yeah.
they include the new services?
Right.
Or do they include the new competitors that have showed up next door? Because that's a thing. Is your compensation still on track? And then are you coaching accordingly? Have you still stuck to weekly, monthly coaching, or are you like, I got busy? These are things that can help solve a lot of that. All right. So the roadmap here is pretty straightforward. You're going to look at your current performance. You're going to change your job descriptions. You'll start the hiring process. You'll start to implement the training, and then you're going to start adjust. So we're looking at that 90-day mindset, right? The 12 weeks, give or take. And this is just a 1, 2, 3. So if you feel like you're getting stuck in week 3 and 4, and there's some things we can help you with on that. And then if you find that, I did all this in 2 weeks, well, you might be missing out some training opportunity. You're just making some assumptions. They know exactly what they're doing. Because I know a lot of people, once you make the hire, like, I got busy with other things. So that mindset, this does take a little time, but it's totally worth it.
Awesome. All right. So first of all, I want to say the AI trainer bot, the front desk trainer, that is completely free. And I want to make sure that I say that we want to resource you. And if you just want to give it a try, you can take it, you can play with it, and it doesn't expire. You can use it to train your front desk. But I also set it at a generic level. And what I wanted to offer anybody on here that was interested, I can take all of your best practices, all of your offerings, all of your scripts, all of your training, and I can create a custom front desk trainer specifically for your clinic and what your expectations are. Obviously, there's some time, effort on our part, so we're going to charge $9.95 one time. We'll take it, we'll build it, and it'll take me about 5 business days, and I'll have it back to you ready to go for your clinic. Again, this is just something I wanted to offer you if you wanted a custom for you. This is not going to replace the front desk trainer bot that I've already built that's completely free for you. So I wanted to say that and make sure that you had access to it. But if you want me to build one custom for your clinic, hello@patientcaremarketingpros.com. Happy to build that for you and get it delivered to you.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool.
And then as promised, guys, here are our resources. Scan it right now. You'll also be getting an email later from Hannah on all this information, and the slides as well come to you guys from an email that will have the replay of all this. But yeah, so when you scan that, you'll actually have access to actual scripts that we made, role-playing scenarios that are tied to the scripts, job descriptions, so you can just plug and play your clinic and just make it happen, and then interview questions. So our goal at the end of the day is that you actually have something turnkey. You just plug in your actual information, and then you're good to go. And that was our goal today, because the first step of finding that front desk person is that you either have to retrain the current one or replace them. And these items right here will help take care of all that.
Excellent. Awesome. All right. So scan that code, get your resources. You can also click the link to get the resources, and they will go out in the replay tomorrow, along with all of the slides here. Again, we want to load you up with resources.
Yep.
And we also want to give you an opportunity to drop some questions to Hannah that we can answer while she's pulling those. Some of y'all are not worried about your front desk because your phone's not ringing in the first place. I can't not promote Patient Care Marketing Pros on a webinar. I have to do it and let you know that we're here to serve you. We're here to help you. We are a digital marketing agency for urgent cares. And if you want to do a completely no obligation discovery call with one of our team members, we'll go through what is working in your clinic, what's not working in your clinic, and how you can fill some gaps either by yourself or with our services. So I wanted to throw that out there as well.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Any questions for us, Hannah? I think you lost them when you said you had to like raise the.
I lost them
Yeah,
so quickly.
I just sent a message. Everybody feel free to leave questions in the Q&A part on Zoom or raise your hand and I can get you unmuted. But it doesn't look like we currently have any. I feel like you guys were
That's
very
okay.
thorough.
Awesome. Well, look, I want to thank you for your time. Your time is your most precious asset. Thank you for spending it with us. I hope you got value. I can't stress enough. Give us your feedback. hello@pagecaremarketingpros.com so that we can continue to make this webinar series fruitful for you, practical application for you. Because Michael and Hannah specifically and myself, we work very hard to make sure that these are good for you. So anyway, thank you for coming. We'll go ahead and end it here because we're 5 after. So y'all make it a great day. Finish off your week strong. And remember, what you do is making a difference in your communities. Thank you.